It's time for the biggest part of our July Cuties project. We got this, right? Hi everyone, Cristin Sam here, and we are continuing with our July Cuties. And it's so darn cute, those ants. Don't you just love this one so far? Oh, so cute. So now we've got our center blocks done and our inner borders done. And so it's time for the biggest part, those triangles. The triangles are always the biggest part of our table topper project, and we can't do more than one in a hooping because they're so large. So we're going to take our time on this and get all four blocks done. So let's go ahead and go over what we need. So I want to talk about the thread real quick. I said at the beginning, actually at my prep video, I said that there was this little tiny pink box on page 6, and I didn't see any pink in the project. And one of our wonderful Cristin Creates members told me it's for the straw. So now I know. So the straw is going to be, I believe it's red and pink. And from here it kind of just looks like red and white, but on that white background I think having a pink would be nice. So I did add pink to my selected thread. So I just wanted to let you know about that since I didn't have that initially in my prep. So I added a pink. I chose a pink lemonade because we received this for other Kimberbell projects. So pink lemonade is the pink that I've chosen. Any pink will do, of course, or any other color if you want your straw different is totally fine. So just real quick on that, this is the one, the triangles is the one that we will use pretty much all of the threads that we've chosen. This will be the part that will have all of those. All right, so let's talk about our fabrics. So pull out your triangles packet. It's probably the biggest packet. It's got all this stuff. This is, like I said, the biggest part of our project. So it's on page 30, all right, and we've got all of the things. So let me turn to page 30 and we'll talk about all the pieces that we need for this. So our main fabric is huge, huge, huge. Make sure, let me just pull all of these things out. There's a lot of stuff. So make sure that you back your main fabric with fusible stabilizer. It is white and it is really big. So we are going to subcut it after, but for now, it's just this really huge square block. All right, and mine, I'm gonna have to re-iron it because I have a crease. It didn't fit in my packet all the way, but these are really big. So you can see that it is a white with white flowers on it for our main fabric, and make sure to stabilize this. Remember I mentioned on the prep video that if you're able to cut your stabilizer a 1/4 inch smaller than your main fabric, that will help to be able to determine, especially on these white fabrics, to know which side is the right side. So that you can see the flowers on here is the right side. The wrong side, I have my stabilizer cut a little bit smaller so that I can easily see that this is the back. All right, so that's just one little tip on being able to tell the front from the back. If you cut your stabilizer just a little bit smaller, it does help a lot. All right, so these big two big squares, we are going to cut these to 13 by 13. We're going to start with them at 13 by 13, 2 pieces, main fabric 13 by 13, and then we will subcut them, and I'll show that in photos, but it's basically just diagonal to diagonal we are going to cut, and that's when we'll have 4 triangles. All right, so diagonal to diagonal, cut straight down diagonally. All right, and then we'll have 4 triangles, and that is our main fabric. So like I said, we're going to do 4 of these triangles. So let's talk about all of the little pieces. So we are going to start with our, let's see if we go over them one by one. So the blanket, we'll start with the blanket. The blanket is fabric 2. It is this one with the really pretty little petals on it. All right, now this blanket, I did back mine with fusible stabilizer. That is completely optional. It might even hang better to not have it stabilized. I chose to stabilize mine because then the edges won't get all frayed, but totally up to you whether you stabilize yours or not. So you want 4 pieces, one for each of the triangle blocks, and these are going to be 2.5 by 2.5. All right, 2.5 by 2.5, and like I said, I stabilized mine. Totally optional, up to you. It will hang easier if you don't stabilize it, but it will also, the edges could fray, but you could put that fray check on the edges. So whatever works for you. 4 pieces, 2.5 by 2.5. This is for the blanket. All right, and then we have our strawberry fabric, and the strawberry is just a simple red silky solid for the strawberry, and these are going to be 4 pieces at 2.5 by 2.5. I'm sorry, wrong. 4 pieces at 1.5 by 2. Sorry about that. 1.5 by 2 for your strawberry. You can see that they're smaller. All right, 1.5 by 2 for the strawberry, 1 piece for each of the triangles, so 4 total, 1.5 by 2 for the strawberry fabric. All right, and then we have the basket itself. So the basket is a brown fabric with lines all over it. All right, tan fabric with lines all over it. And then I did stabilize each of mine. I really like stabilizing my applique pieces. They lay really flat. They don't pucker. I really like to do that. And you can see that I cut my stabilizer just a little bit smaller, even though it's easy to tell which of these is the front side. So these, the basket pieces, you want 4 pieces that are 3 by 4.5. 3 by 4.5 for the basket pieces, 4 of them, 1 for each of the 4 triangle blocks that we're going to make. All right, 4 pieces, 3 by 4.5. And then we have felt for our chicken. It's a chicken drumstick is what it is. So this is a graham cracker embroidery felt, 4 pieces, and these are going to be 2 by 2.5. 4 pieces, 2 by 2.5. And like I said, this is for that chicken drumstick. All right. And then we have clear vinyl for the soda pop. I put mine in a baggie. I highly recommend that. These are so easy to get lost. They're really hard to see. I actually lost them before I put them in the baggie, and I'm like, all right, that's it. They're going in a baggie. So that's my little tip. So on the vinyl, this is that clear vinyl. And we want 4 pieces that are 2 by 2. 4 pieces of the clear vinyl, 2 by 2. And like I said, keep them in a baggie or something so that you don't lose them right until you need them. Okay, 4 pieces of the vinyl, 2 by 2. That's for on top of the soda pop. All right, and that's all that we need. So there's a couple of notes. Like I said, that pink thread, I didn't mention that in the prep video because I didn't know what the pink was for, but now we know. And the other important thing, there's a couple things actually. There's a few important things on this. So we are going to need our batting. Our batting is going to be 7.25 by 13.5. I get a lot of people ask this every time we do one. It's kind of funny. They ask how the batting becomes in a triangle piece. What size are we going to cut it for to make it into a triangle? Well, you can see it's a rectangle. It's a nice big rectangle. All right, 7.25 by 13.5, 4 pieces. And what we're going to do is there will be a placement stitch for the batting, just like there always is in our quilting, and we will lay our batting down, and then it will tack down, and when we trim, we're going to have a triangle. All right, so don't worry, just rectangle pieces for now, 7.25 by 13.5 for our batting. And then we are going to quilt these triangles with triangle ant. So we're going to use the ants again. And I'm going to use a white thread. It's up to you what you use, how you want it to stand out, but it's going to be the triangle block in an ant. Now, another thing is the triangle blocks, there's, I think, 3 different size options. I'm going to use the 9 by 14 one. There's also an 8 by 12, and it's basically the same. It's got a triangle. The edges don't go as far, but even the 9 by 14 doesn't go all the way. So super important that you pay attention to the cutting instructions that I will give when we get there. We are going to cut all the way to the end, all the way until the fabrics meet, all right, if that makes sense. But I'll show you in photos So whether you do the 8 by 12 or the 9 by 14, that part is really pretty much the same. You will see that there will be a stitch diagram, and it's not going to go all the way to a corner. There's going to be a part that ends off. Don't cut that. Do not cut that. I've seen people cut that and then they send me photos asking what they did wrong. You have to cut past that point. And like I said, I will show you in photos. The other option is there's a 5 by 7 option for those that their biggest hoop is a 5 by 7. It's on the CD. There are, I think, 3 hoopings to get the triangle block. So you'll follow the directions on there. There's special instructions just for the 5 by 7 option. All right, and then the last thing is that we will very likely have to turn the basket, the little picnic basket. All right, we'll probably have to turn that. I haven't opened it yet to see exactly what we need to do, but I will do that. I'm going to actually bring you over to the computer. We're not going to do any color sorting or joining or any special things. We can't do more than 1-in-1 hooping, but I'm going to bring you over just to give you a visual so that you can see the difference in the 8 by 12 or the 9 by 14 option, and also how to turn that basket and where it needs to land. You can absolutely do those changes on your embroidery machine, but I'm just going to show you where it needs to be. All right, so whether you use software or the embroidery machine to move it is totally fine. I prefer the computer, the embroidery software, because it just makes it so easy to see it and to move it around and not have a small screen. So that's what I'm going to do, and you'll have the benefit of seeing it so that you can do it on either way. All right, so I think we're all ready. We are going to do 4. These take a while, so just be prepared. Don't rush through it. Let's get our 4 blocks for our triangles done today. Hi everyone, I'm at my computer now, and like I said, I'm just going to give you a real quick visual of moving that picnic basket. So let me open up Embellishment Essentials. That is the embroidery software that I use. You can see down here it says that I'm on my 9 by 14 hoop. I'm actually going to keep that. If you're not on the hoop size that you want, go up here to this preferences folder, click on that, and then choose the hoop size you want, say OK, and then come up to this compass button and click on H so that it zooms into the hoop so you can see it all. All right, so we're going to start by bringing in the quilting design, and I want to show you the difference of those two. So let me go to Merge Stitch File here. And let's see, we are on, good, the quilting. So we want Triangle Ant. So Centers and Triangles July right here is the one that we're going to look for. And I want to just show you real quick. So here is the triangle I mentioned. If your largest hoop is a 5 by 7, you need to do it in 3 hoopings. And there's right there, 5 by 7 part 1, part 2, and part 3. All right, and then I'm going to just scroll down, and here's the 8 by 12. So see these edges here. This is what I was talking about, that you don't want to stop cutting there. You want to go all the way to the edge. And the 9 by 14 also has an edge right here. It doesn't go all the way to the point. So it really doesn't matter if you want to use an 8 by 12 or a 9 by 14. The cut information is going to be the same, and I'll show you when we get there. So I'm going to open up the 9 by 14, double click on that, it goes to the center, and then I'm going to bring in that embroidery file. So to go on top of that, so I'm going to go to, and I don't need to change any of the colors or do anything. We're going to do one at a time. That's too large to do more than one in a hooping. So I'm going to go to Merge Stitch File, and I'm looking for Picnic in the Park. So I'm going to close up the quilting designs, and let's see here, close that. There's the embroidery file. So I have mine on my desktop in my Cuties folder. It's just asking where is this folder that you want me to open up. So I've got Pez, and let's see, we're looking for that picnic basket. There it is right there, picnic basket, 5 by 7, picnic in the park. Double click on that and it goes to the center. Now notice, see, it's not turned and it's in the center of the hoop, but not the center of the triangle. And that's what I wanted to give you the visual of how we need to just move that. So I'm going to click on the picnic basket, just the picnic basket. You don't want to move the triangle quilting. You just want to move the picnic basket. And there's that pink. Thank you to the gal that sent me a message saying, it's the straw. That was nice. Okay, so we are going to turn this. Now, Notice, make sure that you have just the picnic basket clicked on. You can tell that that is selected, whereas the triangle quilting is not selected. So just the second design, which is that embroidery basket, picnic basket. So we're going to go ahead and rotate it. There's two buttons here. There's rotate left and rotate right. I'm going to click the rotate left button, and it still is in the center. You can tell from these little black squares, but it's not lined up right. So what we want to do is we want to line it with this outer edge. That outer edge of the design is always the placement and tack down of the main fabric. All right, and that's what we want to line. So from these little trimming guidelines, that will help us to line it up. You can see it's light because it's not selected, but we want to line it up with this outer line here of our quilting. All right, so to do that, the easiest way, notice it's got this little tick mark so that it stays in the center. If we were to just move it to the left, I think that will work. So let's try that. Let's see. Oh, by the way, so if you click on that rotate button, it doesn't register what is selected. So you have to click outside of the box somewhere and then click on the design again. And remember, just the second design, that picnic basket, not the quilting. So then we can go ahead and move it. So if I move it up here, and I'm just going to visualize it right there. So see, it looks like it's very, very close. All right, you want it on that outer line, but also we can zoom in. So you could zoom in by just using the mouse button. That will help you to zoom in, or you can use this compass button and you can take this crossbow here, the cross arrow, and center it where you want to see, and then use your the scroll button on your mouse to be able to zoom in. And look at how close that is. Like, that's really exact. And then I think you can even click around now. Let's see, I think we have to do it this way. Yeah, we have to move it this way. So I want to just check that other line. So I'm moving it over to this area here, and look at it, it is right on that. It is just perfect. So all we did is move it to the left, and I used the arrow keys on my keyboard to do that so that it stays right in that center mark. So this is perfect. This is all good. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out. I'm using the scroll button on my mouse, and I am going to just go back to H for hoop. And so see, that tick mark is all I did, is I just kept that lined up on that center and moved it over to the left, and that made it so that this is lined up just perfectly. We had to rotate it and then move it up or to the left a little bit. All right, and so that's done. That was super easy. So I'm going to go ahead and do a file, save stitch file as, and we're in the quilting. I don't want it in the quilting. I want it in the actual embroidery design. So right there, and I'm going to go ahead and name it Triangle July. And you could say with quilting, ready, whatever you want to call it. I think I'll say ready. That works. Triangle July ready. Save. That's what I'm calling mine. All right, and then that one's all done. I'm going to save it to send it to my machine because my machine is on. So I'm going to go to Utility, Send to Solaris XP1, and you can name it if you want, but there's really not a purpose because you're going to see it. File sent to machine. All right, so if you don't have that option, you would just transfer it to a USB stick. I showed how to do that on the centers block if you need a refresher. Super easy to do. And we're ready to go. All right, let's get started on our 4 triangle blocks. And my shirt today is one of my favorites. It is a cycling shirt. It's from Embroidery Library. It's got a whole bunch of stitch count, a big stitch count. But if you're stabilizing your shirt well, it works just fine. It's not a problem. And I have videos on YouTube. Go to YouTube, Cristin Creates on YouTube, and then click on the playlist for clothing, or just type in that search bar on Cristin Creates on YouTube. There's a search bar, and you can click on that and type in shirt, and you'll see the tutorials for shirts and what I recommend for embroidering and for stabilizing and so on and so forth. So it's a great shirt. I love this one. And the shirt itself is from Amazon, so I will add a link for the shirt too. It's a great shirt to embroider on. I've done lots of them. I've got it in lots of different colors. So I will add a link for the shirt on Amazon if you choose to embroider a shirt. I hope you'll share in the Cristin Creates group on Facebook. I'd love to see it. So fun shirt. I will add the information if I have it underneath this video in the video description notes. So how are you doing with your goal? I hope you are jamming on it. It is so good to be working on something to improve yourself, improve whatever, whether it's your craft room, yourself, your strength, your eating, whatever it is. I hope you'll share, and I hope you're doing great with it. I haven't done my workout yet today. I'm going to do it late tonight when I finish all of my triangles, but I will share photos. I am working on this challenge on iFit on my trainer, and I think the next one is like a 4-mile run, which is a lot for me. I'm not sure. I know that one of them is a 4-mile. It might be tomorrow's instead of today's. I'll have to check. But either way, whatever I'm doing, I will add photos of it. I'm working on the running challenge and also the strength challenge. So I'm doing a lot of weight training as well and trying to really work hard on building my strength. So what is your goal? How are you doing with it? Share in the comments.